Good evening, everyone, as I call this chamber to order. Thank you. Will everyone please rise if you can and join with me as we salute our flag with the recitation of our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you all remain standing for a moment of personal reflection? Thank you. Township Clerk, please call roll and announce our statement of adequate notice.
Councilman Bahal? Here. Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Councilwoman Winston? Here. Councilwoman Zambicki? Here. And Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrative Joseph Criscuolo.
Here.
Township Attorney Anthony Iacoca.
Here.
And Deputy Clerk Lauren Morris. Present. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Council, you have before you Resolution 25-166, adopting our meeting minutes from our April 14th, 2025 meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Is there a need for correction or clarification on these minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Council, we have a mayoral proclamation proclaiming the month of April as Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. Council Zambicki, will you please tend to this matter?
Thank you. Good evening. I think we have a group of people here representing the arts. Would you like to come up with business? Look at this group. The arts are alive in East Brunswick, right? Wow. How awesome.
No, where would you like us?
Just,
Around?
yeah, spread out. We're not going to switch because we have the presentation, but awesome. Come on up. Come up this way. Come up. All right, thank you so much. So whereas arts and culture enrich our lives, fostering creativity, innovation, and provide a better understanding of our community. And whereas the arts play a vital role in the economic and social fabric of our community. And whereas we celebrate the diverse artistic talents and cultural expressions within our community. And whereas East Brunswick is the home of a robust arts and cultural community with groups like Playhouse 22, the East Brunswick Arts Commission, the East Brunswick Arts Coalition, the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra, the East Brunswick Historical Society, and the East Brunswick Museum, East Brunswick Indie Film Festival, among others.
Among others.
Among others. I mean, that's a lot, right? Whereas East Brunswick's diverse and expansive art groups present hundreds of programs led by driven volunteers, featuring live music, theatrical performances, and visual celebrations, recognizing East Brunswick's diverse cultural tapestry. And whereas the initiatives, help make East Brunswick a special place to live and enhance the quality of lives of our residents. And whereas recognize the importance of local artists and art organizations. Therefore, be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, along with the Township Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, and encourage all residents to celebrate the power of arts in our community. And there is no doubt that this community is grounded by the arts, and we celebrate the arts. And look at this crowd here with us tonight. So thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you. I don't know if anybody wants to come up and give a few words. Right?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. This is an honor. As a resident and the president of the East Brunswick Arts Coalition, I think East Brunswick is so lucky to have so many organizations that support arts and culture, that provides opportunity for our community to engage in many events, workshops, concerts, and festivals. The Arts Coalition is extremely proud of being part of this, focusing on connecting local artists and businesses to the community through events like our Lunar New Year and our Harvest Fest and our Gala for the Arts Center to fundraise to do more for the township. It's a testament to our community. It's a testament to our community's belief that art and culture matters. History matters, culture matters, no matter what it is, whether it's performing arts, visual arts, cinema arts, theater arts. We have it all, and it's amazing. All the amazing people, all the hours dedicated to making this all happen, and we keep on raising the bar. Thank you so much to the council and the mayor for all your support and believing that art matters. Thanks.
Anybody else want to say anything? Yeah.
Good evening, all. My name is Larry Goldsmith. First of all, I want to thank the Township Council and the Mayor for your support for the museum. Most of you know, our objective is artifacts of East Brunswick and the surrounding area. Recently, some of you may know or may not know, we have a collection of artifacts from Governor Hoffman, the Republican governor, and we have 3 reels of movies that haven't been seen before, thanks to a small grant we received from the county, thanks to them, and to George Francie. We had the movies restored. They were very, very fragile, and on June 21st at the Community Arts Center, we're going to be presenting them. So this is from the Lindbergh trial. So if you're interested, please come. By all means, please, we encourage you to come to the museum on Sunday afternoons, and I'll turn the mic over to my fellow cultural colleagues.
Hello, my name is Anna Braun, and thank you so much, Councilwoman Zimbicki. As we all know, I am so happy to be here. Now, I'm wearing a different hat tonight. Usually I'm wearing an arts hat because I'm a retired music teacher. And it's wonderful to see my colleagues here from the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra, which is really a dream come true to have an organization of this caliber in our community. But tonight I'm representing the Historical Society because, as we all know, East Brunswick has been a great place to live for the last 5,000 years because, of course, long before Highway 18, the Lenape people came here. And it was a great place because of our proximity to the shore and to the South River and to the Raritan River, the Lawrence Brook. And through the ages, of course, we even had some famous visitors. Benjamin Franklin walked through East Brunswick, right down the middle of Old Stage Road, on his way from Boston to Philadelphia. And of course, we also had General George Washington and the Continental Army came through on July the 1st of 1817. Whoopsies. No, 1787, right after the Battle of Monmouth. And they came through New Brunswick Avenue up to Riders Lane, probably went right past the municipal building, which I think would be a great place for a historic marker. So I'll be in touch, Brad. Anyway, thank you all so much.
I just want to echo some of the comments from my colleagues, thanking the council and the mayor for this honor. Arts is alive in East Brunswick. I just want to point out just something for the entire audience to understand. This weekend alone,
We saw Playhouse 22's production of Wit open, had 3 shows. The East Brunswick Arts Commission kite flying event was on Sunday. The Historical Society hosted an event with New Jersey historian Linda Barth, and the East Brunswick Public Library supported the Sikh Culture and Awareness Appreciation, and that was just this past weekend. This upcoming weekend, the Symphony Orchestra has the May the 4th, what's the new word for it, Cheryl? Oh, the Star Wars themed concert. And on the future, the Arts Coalition has the gala coming up, and the Historical Society has the film and the museum presentation at the Arts Center. So arts is alive in East Brunswick. And I want to thank all the volunteers that are here because it's all driven by volunteer work. So again, thank you for this honor, and we look forward to seeing you at the theater, wherever you want to go to see arts and culture.
Please join us in front of the dais.
I believe so.
Yes?
Yes, yes, there are.
Good, okay. Furthermore, council, we have another mayoral proclamation regarding the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Councilman Behal, will you tend to this, please?
Yes, thank you.
And there was anyone in the audience who will join the councilman?
Proclamation, whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and addressing the mental health needs in East Brunswick of children, youth, adults, seniors, and families is fundamental to having a healthy community. And whereas all people experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and with the prevalence of mental health conditions in our nation, it's important for all members of the community to know that specific tools exist which can be used to better handle the challenges and protect one's health and well-being. And whereas the prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and with early and effective treatment, individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas it's appropriate to recognize the importance of improving the mental health of all our residents, and East Brunswick is committed to raising awareness about mental illness, promoting effective community partnerships and collaborations to serve the mental health needs of our community, and increasing access to culturally and linguistically appropriate mental health services. Whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full productive lives. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, along with the Township Council, do hereby proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Township of East Brunswick, and encourage all citizens, businesses, organizations, and agencies to work collaboratively to reduce the stigma of mental illness and to increase the mental health of our community. Given under his hand and the Great Seal of Township of East Brunswick this 28th day of April in the year 2025. Mayor Brad J. Cohen.
Well, thank you very much, Councilman Bahal. Appreciate that. On behalf of our entire team, I'd like to thank Mayor Cohen, President McAvoy, and the entire town council for this great honor and for allowing us to do this work. If it's okay, I would like us to tell of a couple of events that are coming up that are very important to us and hopefully the township. So I'd like to have one of our teammates now come up and just give us an update.
Hello, I'd like to let everyone know about a very special event happening at the East Brunswick Library on Friday, May 16th from 5:30 to 8:30 at night. It's our Teen Stressless Night, a night to bring teens together from grades 8 to 12. All schools, I mean, if you live in East Brunswick, you can attend, and it's to recognize the special mental health needs of teens. It's going to be a fun night, but a night with a serious purpose. We start out with pizza and cookies. We're going to have calming, meditative crafts done by our library staff, lo-fi music. Don't ask me what that is, but the teens all tell me that's what they listen to. Therapy dogs on hand, a peaceful nature walk around the pond, and a guided meditation done by one of our library staff with no cell phones. And embedded in all of this, we are going to have mental health counselors from NJ4S, which is Rutgers Behavioral Health, and an organization called 1-800 Turning Lives Around, which is dedicated to teen violence and teen date violence specifically. So again, this is a night to address these special needs of teens pertaining to mental health. We hope that the teens will stop by and talk to the counselors. We're strategically putting the therapy dogs right near the counselors so that they'll lure the teens. But to talk about all the mental health needs that teens have, whether it's academic, peer pressure, family issues, depression, and the list goes on and on. So it's our first step to really recognize that we're all in this together. And again, the mission of the mayor's mental health initiative is to make mental health respected and treated and understood just as if it were a physical health condition.
Hi, I also want to say thank you for providing this proclamation for us this May. I know when we came together, which seems like yesterday, was now like probably 8 months ago, we've come so far in developing our goals and being able to put out to the community how people in our town struggle with mental health challenges and how important it is to look at the stigma of those mental health challenges. And as Karen said previously, just address mental health the same as we would our physical health. So another event that we have coming up in May is May 21st. It's going to be a mental health symposium. It's going to be entitled Teens and Screens, a Mental Health Conversation. We have a keynote speaker, Jonathan Breezy, who is a assistant principal of a school in Ocean County. He will be talking to us about the anxious generation, a powerful look at how smartphones are shaping the emotional lives of today's youth. It's directly mostly towards parents, but any children that have, teens that have an interest can feel free to attend, because we're also going to have a student and expert panel. And so we'll be able to answer questions or kind of talk. We'll have some school staff there. Dr. Figueroa is also going to be on our panel. We have students from our schools that will come and talk as well. And we just hope to have an engaging night where people feel free to talk about the effects that maybe smartphones have had on their mental health. So thank you.
I'm sorry we're a little lengthy and I'm reiterating a little bit, but I have a family that was personally touched by mental health. I have a son who has had mental health issues and thankfully is a functioning member of society. He's a paramedic, dating. So I just feel that we cannot stress enough the importance of normalizing mental health, because when he speaks about his journey, he talks about the fact that he was able to talk to people about the fact that he had these mental health issues, because I was able to do that and because I didn't look at it as any different than any other illness. So as much as access to care is important, I cannot stress enough how important normalizing this illness is. So as part of our program, we have made these stickers, which is our slogan, which say mental health is health. EB stands together. We've been going around to stores and asking people, we're handing them out. We'd love everybody to put them on a car, on a store, on a house window, to show that everybody in East Brunswick feels this way, that this is a stigma-free town, and people who have issues can feel free to talk to anybody about how they're feeling. Thank you very much for doing this for us.
Okay, let's do a photo shoot, please. We're not ready yet. Those of you who really don't want to stay with us with regard to governance, you surely can exit. But if you want to see an exciting and dynamic town council meeting, just stay seated. I don't see anybody moving, so. Okay. At this time, we'll receive a presentation from PSE&G regarding their gas line replacement project here in the municipality. And to my knowledge, it was Kelly Roy who was going to take her team through the introduction, but if that's not the case, is it Mike Gallagher? Mike Coyle, please, the floor is yours.
You're looking for an exciting and dynamic start to the meeting, so I figured I'd do the
There we
30
go.
seconds. I'm Mike Coyle. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for PSE&G. Mayor, Council, thank you for giving us this opportunity to come to see you tonight and talk about our project. Kelly will talk in a minute about the details. We've identified a little over 10 miles of pipe within town that need to be replaced. We'll be doing that under our BPU-approved gas system modernization program. Looking to start the work sometime in June of this year. So I would like to bring up Kelly to talk about the details, where we're going to be working, what we're going to be doing, and how we're going to be keeping the administration and the residents informed of the project as we go along.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us. Myself, I am the project manager for the gas construction work that we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail. Tyler Keefe is going to be transitioning as project manager, so we're working together. And then we have three gentlemen here with us tonight that represent our outreach, our customers. We're going to transition to them in the presentation to talk through how we're going to handle customer outreach before we start and during and after the project. So again, thank you for having us. Just to give you a little background, I guess since the initiation of this gas system modernization program stipulated with New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, East Brunswick was one of the kickoff towns that we started with in the beginning. So we've lived through GSMP 1, we've lived through GSMP 2, and we're currently under a GSMP 2 extension program. So to date in East Brunswick, we've completed about 13 miles and touched about 1,300 residents. So successful to date since the beginning of the program work that we did. The recent work that we're here to talk about now that was recently identified under the program is bare steel infrastructure. So the GSMP program that's stipulated with BPU requirements is replacement of aging cast iron infrastructure and bare steel infrastructure. The bare steel, it's anything that was installed around 1962 and didn't have a certain production of protection on those pipes. So we have seen those pipes age faster than other utilities in the ground. So in East Brunswick, during that vintage year, there was a lot of neighborhoods built, a lot of pipe built at that time. So right now, what we've identified is about 5 miles, which we're calling our phase 1, which is impacting about 400 customers. With those pipe replacements, we come in, we put new main in the ground, and then every service at every customer's location is replaced from the street to the house. And then if the existing meters are in the homes, they have to be moved to the outside of the home. That is one of the stipulations with the BPU in terms of safety. So it's quicker response time for our emergency services, fire, police. They can, by moving the meter outside, we can access shut off at the meter point. We're also putting stop valves in at the curbs for quicker access so they don't have to enter the premise in an emergency. And we're also putting flow valves on those meters. So if there's any type of change in gas pressure from the outside of the home or within the home, that valve at that new meter will shut off gas going both ways to the home. So just to talk about the benefits, safety, what I just kind of hit on is one of the biggest benefits, right? In addition to that safety benefit are the reduced leaks. So with those aging steel mains, there are degradation that has leaks that are safe leaks. With the reduction of those leaks, we reduce our methane emissions. Again, just to hit on the safety and reliability, we're putting plastic in the ground. That plastic's lifespan, is estimated at 100 years plus. So the next time we would have to come in town to do any type of replacement would be that type of timeline. And again, I've mentioned about the relocation of the meters. So just to kind of talk about more specifically the recent work. So I talked about the historical work done to date. The new work overall, there is about 11 miles of work identified in 3 different phases. Our first phase that we're looking to start is in the Frost Woods neighborhood area. That's a couple, excuse me. The Watchung Road, Rolling Road, Hudson area. As mentioned earlier, are anticipating a June start, and that work should take us through January of 26. Working closely with Keith and his team, we would look to restore those roads in the spring of 26 once appropriate settlement and weather comes about. And then the next phase is in MB, well, that's our map number that we referred to, but a couple roads in that map area are the I think that's east of the turnpike. University Road is the main drag that runs through that map, just for a reference point. And then the third area that we're looking at is a smaller map, but it's near New Brunswick Ave, Old Stage Road, and Sandalwood, just for reference. There's a couple maps that we'll go through on the next slides. Again, this first phase is about 5.4 miles, 400 services, 30 streets impacted, and a June start and January 26th end date anticipated. This is the second map, about 15 streets impacted over near University Ave. And then the third phase takes us into 2026. And right now, what we're working on is identifying any other bare steel maps. So PSE&G is getting ready to file for a GSMP3. We will be filing sometime this summer. Approvals usually come out in the fall timeframe, and we'll have a little bit more information. But there is a lot of bare steel in East Brunswick that is qualifying for replacement. So we're going to continue to work with your team to identify any future opportunity as we move forward in our program. So I am going to turn it over to Jason. Jason is going to talk through our outreach process, how we communicate ahead of with the customers.
Council President, may I just ask a couple questions? I remember you were here years ago, weren't you?
Yeah.
On the first round?
Correct.
And that went really well, and you guys worked very, very well with the town. I just want to confirm for the residents that these gas services are going to high-pressure gas rather than low-pressure gas, because you're pulling the new service through the old service line to the house.
So in these particular maps, with these bare steel maps, it's actually pressure to pressure. So
Oh,
we're
really?
not changing pressure on
Okay.
these maps that we're talking about. In the past, we've had some sections of town that
Because I know
were-
when you did my house, it changed to high pressure.
Correct. So there
Yeah.
was certain sections of town that were our UP system, utilization pressure, that relied
Right.
on regulators. So that did change pressure in the time, but right now, the pressure will remain the same.
Okay,
It's just an infrastructure upgrade in terms of that bare steel pipe.
okay. That's
But-
all I want.
but
I
to
mean,
your point about the
you're not
sort-
digging up somebody's front yard, you're pulling
Correct.
still
9
through.
out of 10 times, our intent is to utilize the existing pipe that's in the ground. So
Mm-hmm.
usually our plastic service can be inserted because it's the right size.
Right.
It's not size for size, typically going from steel to plastic.
Right.
So our intent is a hole towards the curb line and a hole towards the house we
Right.
can insert. There are situations which are case by case where someone has built a porch or we can't access the side of the house that the meter is on because of an addition.
Right.
When that meter has to be moved outside, it has to be, we try to go right where it is inside to the outside, so there are different
Yeah,
circumstances.
you kept mine inside,
Okay.
based upon my request, because I was putting a,
We might
A
not have
deck on the
had, it's
front.
pretty, and that is an area that's pretty finite with us, like we have to follow a certain protocol
Yeah.
to leave it inside. There might not have been a safe place per a lot
Right.
of standards with the BPU.
but, I mean, this is basically the same thing that you did before.
Correct.
And you're
Yes.
working with Keith and his team to, restore the roads and everything else. And, I think you guys did a great job last time, so,
Thank you. Thank you for that.
looking forward to, seeing the upgrades.
Thank you, Councilman. We'll get back to our presentation now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because all the variables are going to be covered. We've seen far too many situations where there are mistakes. And that has not been the case here in East Brunswick. The floor is over here, Mayor.
I just wanted to confirm for the public that when you go about repairing roads, that the work is done at or better than the condition in which you found it, and that was what you did last time. I'm assuming that with this work, it would be the same philosophy?
Correct, yes. So during, ahead of the final restoration, which is more of a milling and paving on the road, our trenches and our holes that were left are maintained to be safe in the road. And if there are issues, we've worked closely with Keith's team and I think Joe, right? When there are issues or there's degradation in the road, we will address them and, during the project, so.
No, I guess for residents, they know that we've spent the last 8 years on a very aggressive plan to restore and repave many of our roads.
Understood.
And so if a road has just been repaved and now you're coming in and digging it up, it has to be replaced at or better than the way you found it. So if it was
Correct.
pristine when you found it, it will be pristine when you finish. If it was a crappy road to begin with that we haven't gotten to yet, and you need to put in a trench, you'll repair it. It will look better than it did before, but you're not repairing and repaving the entire road system for us in the township so that people have their expectations set appropriately with this work.
Yes, everything you said is where we will be with the project and restoration.
Thanks.
And that's the message that comes from the dais to the community that's watching this meeting this evening.
Yes.
We want to make sure that everyone knows what the mayor's talking about and how it's going to affect your home, your property. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the time today. My name is Jason Pastorino. I'm a project outreach supervisor. Often municipalities and members of the public will ask, how do we learn about the project? Who can we reach out to with questions? So here at PSE&G, we have a team specifically dedicated to project outreach. So joined with me are my colleagues, Kasim Gomez and Khalid Wright. They make up our outreach portion of our outreach team. And really, we have a thorough, comprehensive outreach strategy, which entails informing customers of the various phases of the project. As Kelly mentioned, we have pre-construction outreach strategy, mid-construction, and post-construction outreach strategies. And really what that consists of is various forms of communication that we use to spread the messaging, details, and information about the project. So before the project kicks off, we'll send letters out to everybody informing them that the project is coming, your road will be impacted, this is what you can expect. And then throughout construction and throughout the various phases, that we kind of work through, we'll send out additional notifications out. So as Kelly mentioned, there's a portion that has service work on the meters. We'll send out letters and notifications specifically on that. So again, just touching on the different forms that we have, and you can kind of see on the screen, and I've also brought some physical copies if you guys would like to see. We have letters that we'll send out in the mail. We will send out door knocker notifications that gets dropped off at folks' doors. We'll send out phone blast, email blast. We're happy to partner with, if you guys have a social media team to get some of that material on your website, we're more than happy to do so. We also have a website, which I'll touch on in a second. And then most importantly, a dedicated hotline, which you'll see on the next slide here. So our intent is to bring the calls to PSE&G as opposed to yourselves. You know, we want people to reach out with questions. That way the experts can answer them. We're really that middleman liaison between the project team and the public. So if anyone does have a question or concern, we can connect them with Kelly and Tyler and the appropriate supervisors to make sure that their concerns are being addressed and heard, most importantly. So again, we do have a thorough and detailed plan to notify customers and keep them in the know as we progress through our construction. And again, we strive to bring them to us. That way we can address the calls. And then lastly, we also have a website through PSE&G where we'll be posting updates as well. We'll have the street list of everyone whose street is impacted throughout this project and kind of provide updates in terms of your street is in progress, your street is finished, or your street hasn't started yet. And again, just another tool that we use to provide updates to the public and get the messaging out about the work. And that really concluded. Any questions regarding the communication process?
Will Kendall and Kasim, am I pronouncing that right?
It's Kasim Khalid.
Will you be knocking on the doors?
Depending on
Right.
the urgency of it, yeah, it's possible that you're...
So just make sure that you have the proper ID and...
Right.
I mean, you've been down this road.
Yep.
You know, I get a knock on my door and
You never know.
I peek.
We
You know,
have
our identification badge, yeah.
I'm well aware, you know, and that's where we are today. I hate peeking.
Yeah.
But that's what we have to do, and, you know, it's part and parcel to everything that you said with regard to public relations, that all of our residents will sort of expect, and then they can go to the website and they can...
Of course. Right, exactly. We want the residents to feel comfortable and know that it's us that's
Right,
spreading
because
the
as
messaging.
Councilman Wendell said, I recall as well, the last time you were here, similar presentation. And the big thing about the roads was, they came out pretty well. We give PSE&G an A+ for that.
Good to hear. Any other questions?
Listen, if this program runs as well as you ran the last time, I have no concerns. You guys did a very good job last time. The communication was fantastic to both the council and to the public. And, you know, I'm excited that we're getting these upgrades.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman.
I'm confident we'll run well with Keith in our department, and they all know I still have Frank Lucchese's number on speed dial. So, Kelly, I hope you stay through the project. I hear you're transitioning. Did I hear right? So we finally got you trained, and you're going to leave. Okay. So, but please reach out to Keith, and I will get you in touch with Greg, our information officer, and he'll help facilitate getting the word out. Also, Lieutenant Pham is here today. He's the information officer for the police department. So if we could just get maybe a quick team meeting together with your team and Jason, Keith, myself, and Greg T, and we'll get it going.
Just want to again remind residents that there's now and will be, like it's been for the last couple of years, lots of different projects, road projects being done all at the same time. You're coming in the summer. We have our road improvement projects in the summer. The county does their work in the summer. So all of these are going on at the same time. So it's often very difficult to know, oh, is that a PSE&G job? Is this a county job? Is this the townships? Is this the state? They're all working at once. And so it can be confusing. So that is why Council President is just asking that we all do this in some sort of coordinated manner so that we're not inadvertently all in the same section of town at one time.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely coordinate our best.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Joe, is the laptop going to stay?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we could, if there, any residents? Anybody want to take the mic and? All right, you can leave it right there. I saw you strolling.
Take out the old lines, especially the road. I'm guessing it's a 4 or 6 inch line going through the road. You take that up or just put
you approach
plastic
the mic?
along the side of it?
Nobody at home can hear you, so I asked that to come to the mic while Kelly's still here.
And then we need Mr. Kip.
Bruce Barrett, Bradford Road. Is these new lines going to be run parallel to the old lines, or are you going to take the new lines out?
They're ran parallel to the.
So you're going to leave the steel lines in, possibly trap gas inside those lines? Unless they purge them with water or something?
So there's a process where they're purged and capped at the ends and made safe to be left.
Okay. All right, I guess that's different.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Kelly.
Council, we have 6 ordinances for a second reading and a public hearing. Township Clerk, would you please read ordinance 25-11?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending the useful lives set forth in bond ordinances number 19-16, 22-16, and 21-26, and finally adopted June 10th, 2019, October 11th, 2021, and July 11th, 2022.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move to adopt.
Second?
Second.
And Mr. Crisculo, these are leftover monies, correct?
These are restructuring of some old bonds that we have in place to make them useful.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Oh,
Open to public.
I forgot that one. Yes. Open this portion of Resolution 25-11 to the public. Anyone wishing to address the council president on this issue and this issue only? Seeing none, close the public portion. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, will you please read ordinance 25-12?
A capital ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $879,500 therefore from the Capital Improvement Fund.
Motion to adopt.
accept?
Motion.
Second? And, did I hear a second?
Second.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Mr. Crisculo, once again, a capital...
These are capital items that we're going to be paying cash for. Still requires a capital ordinance, but it's not a bond. So we're just paying cash for this.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Open it to public.
Oh, public once again. I beg your pardon. Anybody from the public wishing to address this matter only? Seeing none, we'll close public portion. Roll call.
Mayor?
I beg your pardon, Mayor.
Just wanted to remind council that as you recall, we approved $4 million in capital to be used this year towards our capital projects. We're dividing it under ordinance 25.12. It's a little over $800,000 that we're paying in cash. The remaining is about 3.2, which you'll see under ordinance 25.14, which is a bond. So that's why the $4 million is split out differently. One's cash, the other's a bond.
Thank you, Mayor. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, you please read ordinance 25-13.
A bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $500,000 for the replacement of various water main lines in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $500,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance the cost thereof.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion to
And a second.
Second.
We've discussed this, that's self-explanatory. Open to the public. Anyone wishing to talk on this issue only, seeing none?
And this is not taxpayer dollars, this is water
Right.
authority dollars, or water
Correct.
utility.
Utility.
dollars. Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bajal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, can you please read ordinance 25-14?
A bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,276,300 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,112,500 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
I have a note here. Mr. Crisculo, can you clarify, quote, "The township will finance part of the cost"?
Exactly what the mayor had just said before. This is the remaining part that we're bonding for, and actually we have a down payment in that.
Want to hear it again because it's a separate ordinance,
Yep.
25-14. Open this to the public. Anyone wishing to discuss this on the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bajal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, can you please read ordinance 25-16?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Chapter 101, Billman.
Motion adopt.
Second.
Second.
Film industry, self-explanatory. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, close the public portion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bajal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, our final ordinance for now. Please read ordinance 25-17.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing a drainage easement and a roadway improvement easement between the Township of East Brunswick and Brightview East Brunswick Urban Renewal, LLC, in connection with Brightview redevelopment project.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Crisculo, that's a big one. Can you give us a...
Yeah, there's a sliver of township property along Riders Lane near Cranberry Road there that the developer needs a access easement so they can get into the parking lot. So they're going to naturally pay for that easement, and also as part of that, they will maintain the whole area, including the township property for the time being. So that's actually a cost avoidance for the town when we don't have to maintain that grassy area that abuts the roadway. So they're paying for the easement, it's a driveway easement, and it's just to let them into their driveway.
And that's Brightview.
Brightview, yes.
Brightview, beg your pardon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Want to give a quick synopsis? for
That's to
Brightview?
give them access from both,
Mr.
allowing
Wendell?
them to have access from Cranberry Road and Riders Lane.
Okay, just a quick description of the whole project. Quick.
Brightview is
Is
a assisted living and above 55 rehab/facility. There's a number of them popping up across the street, one in Homedale and one in the Shore area. As our population grows, there's bigger need for these types of
Right,
facilities.
none of this construction has begun yet. So you're at the intersection of Riders Lane and Cranberry. You have an abandoned house sort of sets back, a lot of weeds and whatnot. That entire area is going to be what Mr. Crisculo is talking about. And this is a specific tweak to what's going on. Anyone from the public wishing to address this issue? Seeing none? Close the public portion and roll call, please.
Councilman Bajal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. We'll now move on to our reports section of the meeting. Mayor Cohen.
Thank you, Council President. First, I wanted to update folks. I know the last time I was at the council meeting, I was telling everybody about our fourth round affordable housing obligation, which was initially given us to us back in October of 2024, where we were told that for the period of time of 2025 through 2035, that we had to build make accommodation for 314 affordable housing units in the township. As I told everyone last time, the township didn't really think that that was an appropriate number and used the DCA, which is the Department of Community Affairs, own methodology and came up with a number that we thought was more appropriate, which was 265. The DCA agreed with that number and agreed that it should be, and they recommended that it should be lowered to 265. However, the Builders Association disagreed and sued every single town in the state of New Jersey that challenged the numbers that were given by the DCA, whether or not your DCA number was changed. And we were one of them. So we recently had to initiate a settlement process with the Builders Association because the courts really do not want people challenging these numbers, and they don't want to spend a lot of time in court defending and arguing these cases. So they put this settlement process in place that allows the town to work with the Builders Association to try to come to an agreement before which, or if you disagree with, you could still go to court. The end result was that we were not willing to change our number, and the Builders Association wasn't really willing to change their number very much. So the court, which is a retired judge who acts in these settlement hearings, relied on her expert witness, who is an expert planner, and that person's number was 296. That was the number that the planner recommended to the court. The court accepted that number and is now given us that number as a final agreed upon number, 296. Our choice at this point would be to disagree and go to court, where most towns have an abysmal rate of actually winning any of those cases. So we would be spending more lawyer time, professional time for a case that we have virtually no chance of winning, or accept the 296. So the township has opted at this point to accept the 296. It's still less than the 314 that we would have had to do had we not started this process at all. Now the next phase of all of this, if it's accepted by both parties, is for the town to provide to the DCA where in the township those 296 units should be located. That is being worked on by our planning and engineering department, and since it is due by June, we should hear at this body what those recommendations are, because ultimately it needs your approval. So that, I just wanted to give everybody the update on that. Also wanted to ditto a little bit about what Adam Neary said in terms of the busyness of this last weekend and how it describes what is going on in East Brunswick on a regular basis here. Besides what he mentioned, we had the Arbor Day celebration over at the Memorial School. There was a big Tricky Tray fundraiser at St. Bart's for Daisy. Our cricket fields were opened officially on Friday. On Sunday, we had a slew of activities from the Alpha Kappa Delta Delta had a breakfast over at Applebee's. The EBA sponsored a Bicentennial Park cleanup. Youth Council had and the Arts Commission put together the color run and the kite flying. The Historical Society had a lecture, sick awareness, and it's just on. And I think that and the next couple of weekends aren't very much different. So it really just goes to point on the number of things that are going on here in East Brunswick on many, many different fronts, and we couldn't be more excited about that. And on the point of being excited about that, many of you have noticed, or hopefully have noticed, that we've embarked on a very aggressive marketing campaign to get the word out beyond just East Brunswick about the things that we're doing. And I had said previously on one of the podcasts that I had done that I remember growing up where I didn't even know where East Brunswick was. I didn't live here, but I knew that there was a Crazy Eddie's here. I knew that it was the way you get down to the shore from Route 18 if you don't want to get stuck in all the crazy traffic on the Parkway. I knew that there was Loman's, and I knew where East Brunswick was on the map, just hadn't been here. But the point is that for our commercial corridor to be successful, it isn't going to be dependent on just the people that live in East Brunswick. We need to get back to what we used to be in terms of having the rest of the world know that there's a lot going on here in East Brunswick. And so we're putting the time and the effort to make sure that that word gets out to communities, because that's how we get the business community back here working at the type of levels that we remember several decades ago. It just has to work differently in 2025 than the way it might have done in 1975 and 1985. But we're getting there, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So thank you all for helping and being part of it. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Mr. Crisculo, our businesses.
Sure. One thing, just on the heels of what the mayor said about affordable housing, working closely with AI, Anthony Iacoca and Joe in the back of the room, our attorneys. We have asked the court for a 90-day extension for choosing the sites. So we don't know if we'll get that or not, but most towns are asking the court for some leeway because they're really not getting their numbers. They're getting their numbers late. So most towns are filing a motion to ask for that. So just to be aware that we did, and Joe will keep me informed of that, and naturally I'll keep you informed. And I'd like to thank the council president for sitting in on some long trials and hearings and stuff like that, and accompanying me in my office, along with Anthony and Joe and his team. So I appreciate that. The podcast, The Buzz About EB, if we're going to be at our, 5th episode?
Yes.
This week. I suggest people to listen to that podcast. It's available on a lot of different channels. Actually, you can see it live on YouTube. It's available on iHeart and Apple and a whole swath of services in that particular industry, and it's The Buzz About EB. So it's a very informative program. You could find out a lot of things about the town and answer the question, is a hot dog a sandwich? So if you're interested on the opinion on whether a hot dog is a sandwich, you might want to listen in on that there. The special event application is now alive and well thanks to Rob Zuckerman, Jason Farmer, and Anthony and his legal team, and Tamar. I think we've received about a dozen special event applications in the last week. I know Lauren's been working and Tamara's been working hard on those from all the festivals, from religious institutions and the fairgrounds and everything. And remember, our main goal of when we went through this process is to keep everybody safe. And I appreciate Jason Farmer and John Cossack, Chief of Police, working on that. So it's to ensure that the next day everybody is all safe and well. So I'd like to just extend my appreciation to the team, especially the clerk's office, getting them in, getting them out, and everybody opining on those. And I think some of those approval will be on the council agenda tonight. So there truly is a lot going on in East Brunswick.
Thank you, Mr.
Council President, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
please.
So I have a question. With the affordable housing, it's a 10-year mandate. And if we get that extension, the 90-day extension, I mean, a lot changes in 10 years. Is there an opportunity to amend any of that, to change the locations? Because I could see that being something that we may need in East Brunswick.
It's limited the way, and Anthony, please correct me, we're only relying upon what Anthony and I have gone through in the second and third rounds. It's limited to what you can change. Certainly, the amount of units is not going to change.
At the location.
But if you decide a particular location is a troublesome spot or there's some unforeseen thing, then you got to go back and get with the DCA, Fair Share Housing, and I don't know, I guess we have to petition the interveners at that point, right, Anthony?
Because the properties identified to be included for the next 10 years will be reflected in a housing plan,
Right.
fair share element, which needs to be approved by the planning board and then endorsed by the township council. So
Right.
once that plan is endorsed, that's the plan. So if there's any modifications, you'd have to go back to the planning board and the council, and we may need to get the affordable housing judge to bless it
Amend
as
it,
well.
right, amend it.
So,
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Our attorney, Mr. Iacocca.
I have one comment. On the agenda is ordinance 25-21, a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements pursuant to shared service agreement with the East Brunswick Board of Education appropriating $11.5 million. I just wanted to clarify for the council that back in February, a shared service agreement was for financing was fully executed by the township and the board for $11 million in bond financing. That contract is active and in effect. For the past couple months, the township and the board representatives have been going back and forth on the proposed improvements and the amount of the bond financing. It has come to my attention that the board passed a resolution in April authorizing an amended shared service agreement with a lower amount for bond financing. And so for clarification, I just wanted the council to know you have two options. First option is if you wish to keep the original agreement in place with the $11 million in financing, then no action needs to be taken other than introducing the ordinance this evening for the $11 million. However, if the township wishes to approve the amended agreement which has the lower amount, then the amended agreement would need to be presented to the council for approval, and we would have to introduce an ordinance, the appropriate ordinance that reflects the amount in that agreement. Just wanted for clarification purposes. Okay?
Our township clerk, Mrs. Lawful.
There's nothing to report.
Council, any committee or board reports? Okay. I will now open the meeting to the public. Ms. Lawful, will you please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond.
Thank you. Let me open the public portion of our meeting to the subject of Gaza for a period of 30 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to address the council president to start us off? Please.
Good evening. Nawal Tufel, Tall Oaks Drive, East Brunswick. Mr. McAvoy, I have attended these meetings repeatedly to express one central point. Maintaining a sister city relationship with an Israeli city at this moment in history is profoundly unethical. Israel is currently engaged in what can only be described as Holocaust of Palestinians, a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in real time. Just in last meeting, we presented this council with graphic, undeniable evidence, photos of Palestinians who were burnt alive, children with amputated limbs, and in response, rather than engaging with the horror of what we showed, you referred to us dismissively as the Palestine Network. That term was not only inaccurate, but personally offensive because what does Palestine Network even mean? Let me clarify something, and that's coming really from my heart, because I have been to many places where we have Palestine Network, as you call it. We are Muslims, Jews, Christians, and Hindus. We are black, white, and all shades of brown. We are queer and straight. We are united not by a label, but by a moral stance that we all stand against the Holocaust of the Palestinian people. So I really ask you again, what is stopping this council from severing ties with an Israeli city? Part of a state perpetrating what may go down, actually not may, it will go down in the history as crime of the century. Israel is burning people alive. It's systematically targeting children, shooting them in the head and kneecaps to permanently disable them, and that's by the testimony of dozens of doctors who have served in Gaza. It is deliberately starving an entire population, and this is happening in 2025, in plain view of the whole world. So Israeli politicians and civilians are not just complicit. Many are openly cheering for the starvation of children. And this is only possible because government and institutions around the world, including this council, remain silent or passive. All we are asking is that this council take a stand, even if you believe, honestly at this point, that your individual action is small, every action creates a ripple. Even the smallest stand against injustice matters. So please listen to the voices of those you have labeled as the Palestine Network, take the ethical and moral path, end the sister city relationship with Israel. Let history show that at this moment you choose to be on the right side of the history. And one of my friends said in the last meeting, nothing will stop you from entering into the agreement once things are settled. But right now, when the Holocaust is happening, when the Holocaust of Palestinians is happening, you have an agreement with the country that's doing this Holocaust. So can you imagine the unethical behavior of this city council at this point? That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president? Gentleman with the hand.
Thomas Whitehead, citizen of the Earth. How many of you have?
What's the address? I didn't hear you.
Citizen of the Earth.
Citizen of Earth.
Citizen of Earth.
Thank you. You will address the council president. Thank you.
You were very insulting to a woman who is talking about babies being burned alive, and you're just sitting there sleeping like this is like some boring thing that's happening. So I'd just like to comment on that. I'd also like to ask members of this council, like, how many of you have children?
This is not a question and answer time period. This is a time in which you are allowed to make a statement.
Okay, so how would you feel if your children's head was decapitated from their body? How would you feel if your child's body was burned alive, covered with burns? How would you feel if your child's body was buried under rubble and you're hoping they live, but they're probably not, and the least you can hope is that maybe the rubble killed them and they didn't have to suffocate under the rubble? I imagine that would probably be the worst day of your lives. I don't know you personally. It would probably be worth the pain of like 10,000 suns. But honestly, like if it's Palestinian children and you're a bunch of racists, you don't care. I'm not coming here to try to appeal to your sense of morality, because you quite clearly have none. These people have been coming here for the last 18 months. They've been saying the same thing week after week, and you've done nothing. You are not worthy of the air we breathe. You are not worthy of food. You are not worthy of water. You are not worthy of peace. You are not worthy of safety. You are not worthy of happiness. You are, you do not deserve a long and happy life. Honestly, even a short and miserable one is too good for you. You're just the worst. You're really just the worst. You're 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 the worst. Oh yeah, I actually just remember to say that you combine, all of you combined together would be worth one Palestinian person would be the most grievous insult to a Palestinian person, because if you take 0 and multiply it by not 10, that is still 0. I was going to bring up you're a dirty sock and say you're worth less than that, because like dirty socks actually serve a useful purpose. That's.
And your 5 minutes has expired, sir. Thank you.
Have a shitty night.
No, I'll be feeding into that entire presentation. Everyone sitting in this sacred chamber this evening heard what I heard. There is no place for that level of commentary. But again, First Amendment rights, we allow everyone to take the microphone. Would anyone else like to speak to the council president?
I was just referring to the whole. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Council. Thank you, Councilman.
So, you run the chamber.
Bruce Barrett, Bradford Road. Again, I mean, I've heard that woman looking for support for Palestinian people for a few meetings now.
Right.
And maybe as a mayor and as a council, you can't support whatever. I mean, I think I remember in the past supporting different things. I'll have to go back in my memory bank, which is too dusty and old to know. But can a member, a council member even, as an individual, stand up and speak and support the woman who, you know, just wants to get her point across? That we all watch the news and we all maybe agree with it. I don't think it takes a lot to speak it up and say it. I mean, unless there's some kind of bylaws or something that preventing people from doing it. Yeah.
The public portion is, once again, for the individual to make a statement regarding.
I know, send a statement.
That's the way, that's the way we operate.
Yeah.
Please, gentleman back. Because I'm going to close the public portion with regard to the subject of Gaza. So I'm opening it. Thank you.
Jeff Winston, Fresh Palms Road, East Brunswick. Going to go back to the bond issue that's on the agenda tonight. We're looking for a little clarity, and I appreciate Mr. Iacocca's messaging. I do think there's an option here tonight that would be to amend the ordinance to the what ultimately would be 8.315789 would be the amount that was in fact approved by the Board of Education. So more for clarity, this particular ordinance has taken a very interesting path. When it was originally introduced, it was $11.5 million, which was comprised of $600,000 of shared services and $10.9 million of capital improvements. And that was the first iteration. Then the number got combined to $11.5 million, as was pointed out to me tonight, and that's for shared services, but I'll get to that in a moment. On April 10th, in reference to what was mentioned earlier tonight, The summary is from the Board of Ed agenda. On January 16th, the Board of Education approved the new shared services agreement to finance capital projects and renovations and the acquisition of instructional and non-instructional items and equipment described in the resolution. Just to jump down further on that, the Township of East Brunswick has requested a reduction in the principal amount being financed. The principal amount has been reduced by $3.2 million, which was the replacement of the Irwin Elementary School roof, which by many estimations probably was the most emergent item on the list in its entirety. It's confusing to me what exactly is the shared services part of this, because a part of what the Board of Ed asked for, they did list out what the money was for. Capital improvements, which included a bunch of stuff like turf replacement, PA system, security, safety improvements, some parking expansion, paving, milling, transportation, 5 buses, athletic facility and equipment, classroom furnishings and equipment. I'm not really sure where the shared services part comes, but that part came to $11.5 million, and that's who included the roof. So if this amendment came down, I don't think the excuse could be we haven't seen it, because it was voted on April 10th by a vote of 7-1 of the Board of Education to change. So what you're reading tonight doesn't exist. There is no $11.5 million ask from the Board of Education and for the district. The number's clearly at 8.2 for a laundry list of things that should never be approved in a budget problem in which they're having now, full knowing that the budget is not necessarily capital improvements. But one would think that as protectors of the taxpayers' dollar, you would want to pump the brakes, let this budget finish before we start shoveling money and bringing it over in a wheelbarrow on an ask that's never happened. If when you do receive this, you'll have to have yet another ordinance first reading. It'll be for $8.5 million. The next board meeting's not for another couple of weeks, where they're going to probably have the $11.5 million back. And Council President, there's a point of order in which we run things. Mr. Iacocca said earlier in describing something, he said, well, it'll go from the zoning board, and after that, the board will approve. Of course, that's the order of operation. That's point of order. Tonight is not the night to have a reading on an item that simply doesn't exist, unless you just want to send over $11.5 million where it wasn't asked for. It's inappropriate. These are the taxpayers' dollars. Slow down. Nobody's going to lose anything. Let the board get their act together and what they're actually asking for. Give the public a chance to respond to the board on the list of things that they're intending to do as they walk teachers out the door and have many, many other issues that need attention. With that said, in summary, what you're asking for tonight is on an item that simply doesn't exist. The easy remedy is to change the council, to change your ordinance tonight to exactly $8,315,789, to which you will be approving a bunch of things that should not be prioritized in a difficult budget year in what they're having. Thank you very much.
Let me go back to Gaza because I did shut it down. I don't want anyone to feel that they were slighted. So if there's anyone who would like to take the microphone and address the council president. You're exhausted. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Please.
My name's Henna, Mason Avenue, Main Street, Old Stage, in East Brunswick. And I believe the clarification that was requested is that we are here to ask for an action, and that is to dismantle the sister city ties with Yevne, an Israeli city. A member of the Arts Council actually just said a few minutes ago that we've been here for 5,000 years. That's not correct. She then mentioned the Lenape, who are the indigenous people of East Brunswick. They're no longer here because this country is built on colonized lands where the indigenous populations were exterminated, much like the Palestinians are being exterminated by U.S. weapons. Clearly, East Brunswick has chosen twice to be on the wrong side, as Yevne is home to the headquarters of Aeronautics, an Israeli defense company that manufactures unmanned aerial systems, also known as drones. This makes East Brunswick, who has sister city ties with this city, directly complicit in the genocide that is unfolding of the Palestinian people. So as we mentioned before, the action that is requested of the council is to dismantle this tie as of right now until this genocide that is unfolding can find some sort of resolution. That's our ask. Thank you so much.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president on this issue? I'll close the Gaza part of our open public. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council president, please?
Thank you. Lori Herrick, Riva Avenue, East Brunswick. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I am the Health Educator, Regional Chronic Disease Coalition Coordinator for Middlesex County Department of Health Services. Our coalition works to strengthen partnerships to help residents become healthier through education, screening, and advocacy. We focus on evidence-based strategies from the New Jersey Comprehensive Cancer Control Plan and work to implement policy, environmental, and system changes to reinforce healthy behaviors and lower the risk of disease. For the 24-25 grant year, we received additional funding to host a women's health event, and I'm here to extend the invitation to each of you to our event. It will be held on Saturday, May 3rd at the Middlesex County Public Health Clinic in East Brunswick. The event is titled Helping Women Bloom and will focus on providing breast and cervical cancer screenings to uninsured, underinsured women in our county. So far, we have over 40 women registered to be screened. We will also have screenings for skin cancer, HIV, blood pressure, and glucose. Additionally, vendors will provide resources that will address the social determinants of health, as well as providing health education. We are proud to bring this initiative directly to our community because we are lucky to have the public health clinic located in East Brunswick. According to the New Jersey State Cancer Registry, Middlesex County consistently ranks among the top counties in the state for overall cancer incidence. Breast cancer remains the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women in Middlesex County. Cervical cancer is detectable through regular screenings and follow-up, yet barriers such as cost, access, cultural concerns, and awareness keep too many women from getting the care they need, and our event this weekend aims to close these gaps. Our event is about reaching mothers, daughters, sisters, neighbors who may benefit from an early diagnosis simply because we made access possible. We would love for you to stop by and visit our event this weekend. There's so much, again, great things that will be going on at this event. So I will email the flyer so that you have it, but thank you.
Please.
Lori, just one question. Where is it being held?
Over 11 Kennedy Boulevard, the Middlesex County Public Health Clinic that just reopened, I think about 8 to 9 months ago. I think some of you had stopped by when the clinic reopened. We were provided a grant through the New Jersey Department of Health for the Middlesex Coalition. And so we picked the public health clinic to have our event because we thought that it was at a central location where people throughout Middlesex County, where women could access. We will also be offering prostate screenings for men who are eligible, and we do not plan to turn people away. So even if it's a walk-in, even if we can't accommodate you that day, SEED has its services there, which provides screenings for uninsured, underinsured people, and we will make an appointment to have you screened.
That's terrific. That's
Thank
a
you.
really great event.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president? Gentleman in the back.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council, Mr. President, Tom Ingrasani of Deerfield Road. Just to have a few things I've been getting on my Ring doorbell, neighbors write things. There's brown water in the neighborhood around Deerfield Road, Racetrack Road. Just want to know why would that be, okay? And then on Gordon Street and Summer Hill Road, there's still that broken pole, which is about eye level. It's never been taken care of. And then on Summer Hill Road, right near the First Rescue Squad, a sign, Hope Street is missing. It's been missing a year, just so you know. And the other thing is this Civic Center vital statistics in this area, would that help us get the license for the real license ID? Could they help you? Because that's what I was told to do. It's going to be a problem. A lot of people right now are having problems with it. My wife is one of them. But I understand that the statistics of vital statistics could help you at Civic Center Driver. Where would that be, and what's the hours of that place?
Well, the only thing I've told you, Mr. Ingrasini, with regard to that issue, contacting Sterling Stanley's office or Rob Karabinchak's office.
All right, because it says Civic Center Drive to contact. All right, I will contact them. All right, that's all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address? Close it. We will close the public portion. And let's move on to the consent agenda of our meeting. And so does anyone need anything separated? Seeing none, may I have a motion for Resolution 25-167 through 25-174.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Council, we have 4 ordinances for introduction. Township Clerk, would you please read ordinance 25-18?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, establishing new Chapter 65 of the Township Code entitled Hotels and Motels Operations.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
May I interrupt? We have the pleasure this evening to have Lieutenant Jason Fama here. So while he's here, we're not sure if he can make the next meeting. So if there is any questions on the ordinance, I'd ask that you either ask the lieutenant at this particular time or contact him during the week. So Jason was instrumental in drafting this along with our legal team. So, but if there's no questions, then we could just move on. I just wanted to make notice that Jason was here.
Any comments on the ordinance?
Council President?
Please.
Listen, I just, I would like to thank Lieutenant Jason Fama on the hard work that went into this. I know that there was several iterations that went back and forth over the past several weeks or months when this was, presented to me as a something that would be coming up by the chief. I was really happy to see it, and I know that they took a lot of time vetting this out with legal and everyone else to make sure that it would, be enforceable. So I'd like to thank Mr. Fama,
I'll just make one quick comment. I just want to say thank you, Mayor, Council, and Councilman Wendell. This ordinance, yes, it was a lot of time, there was effort that was put into it with Anthony and his team, Mr. Iacoca. It's just encapsulates the best practices for deterring criminal activity. And that deterring of criminal activity is beneficial not only to the hotel and motel establishments, it's also beneficial to the police department, which in the end is going to be beneficial to the residents because we're going to be able to free up resources. The establishments are going to be able to deter criminal activity. And like I said, we're going to be able to free up resources to be able to direct them to other areas of town that are in need of police services and also fire services as well.
What, and if I may, Council President, what would enforcement look like? Would that be on the police department, or would that be on
So, and I know we had some discussions.
Code enforcement.
Do you want to comment on that, sir? Or, most of it's going to be probably the police department because we're going to be essentially the ones that are responding there. But potentially we can use code enforcement as well. So it's really going to be a blend of the two. But I would say most often than not would end up being the police department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
What's Lon's title? Deputy Clerk? Deputy Clerk, would you please read ordinance 25-19?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, establishing Chapter 122 of the Township Code entitled Body Art Establishments.
Motion adopted.
Second.
Second.
Clarification, Mr. Criscuolo? You got it?
This is
19.
clearing up what we call the tattoo/body art ordinance section of our code, get us better in line with what's going on in the state and in over other counties to ensure public health. So Anthony, myself, Robert Zuckerman worked with the county health department to kind of put this together and make sure that it meets the helps with public safety,
Thank you.
public health.
Did we do a motion on that?
Yes, we do.
Virginia, roll call.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
25-20.
I know, but Deputy Clerk. Deputy Clerk, would you please read ordinance 20? You like that, Mr. Wendell?
Yes.
I can't remember. I got these blocks in my head. Let's do ordinance 25-20.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Township Code, Chapter 109, Article 1, Retail Establishments.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Criscuolo, anything?
Yes, quite simple. In the past, we required vendors for food licensing that want to come to festivals and events in East Brunswick to get a license basically every time they came in. This provision allows them to get a license once for the year. We have a lot, the phrase keeps popping up, we have a lot going on in East Brunswick, and a lot of these same vendors go to these events at the fairgrounds and things that we have and the things that the township does. So this will enable them to get either a 2-day license or a yearly license. So that's really the main provision of this modification.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Deputy Clerk, please read ordinance 25-21.
Bond ordinance providing for various school capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, pursuant to a shared services agreement with the East Brunswick Board of Education, appropriating $11,515,789, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $10,940,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Motion approved.
Second? Second. Roll call,
Council
please.
President, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to speak on this and, you know, being that I was one of the opponents to the school board borrowing this money and questioning their budget and their decision to make these improvements. Last Thursday, Council President and I and the mayor met with Victor Valesky and Heather Guas, the chairman of the school board, and we talked through most of these, or all of these improvements, and we talked through their debt structure, and we talked through many different things, and while it's not really seen, while they are canceling only $3.7 million worth of debt with us this year, it's actually more than $14 million is what's being canceled by the school board. So they're not exceeding their debt service It was also indicated that whether we went with the 8 million or the 11.5 here, they were going to go seek the debt for the roof at Irwin separately and pay a higher interest rate than we can give them. I was surprised to hear that the school board only carries currently $28 million worth of debt, which is much less than I would have expected and much less than other school boards carry in the state. While they are in a difficult financial position at this point, and have been for the past year or two, I came out of the meeting feeling comfortable with this amount of debt being taken on and feeling comfortable that the projects that they're proposing as provided to us in, you know, some photos and such as certain degradation of certain facilities, I feel confident that this is the right thing and that our ability to loan, you know, bond for this money for the school board is something that is the right thing to do. We've done this for years and years and years and years. I mean, I've been on this council for 14 years and we've done this every year. So I just want to let everyone know that I was satisfied with the answers given by Mr. Valesky and Heather Goss to us last Thursday, and that's why I'm comfortable supporting this today.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Mahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
Council President McAvoy?
Yes. For the good of the cause.
I just have one thing.
Take your time.
Thank you. So I just want to appreciation for our township employees and all the work, especially this weekend. It was, I guess, long weekend, we'll say, right? Just event after event after event, and our rec department was there working countless hours. Just the Daisy Tricky Tray alone, they started that and it didn't get over. They didn't finish cleaning up until like 1:30 in the morning. So, and all of our departments work so hard, but as a member of the Rec and Parks Advisory Board, I just want to give a special shout out to our rec department for going above and beyond this weekend. So thank you.
Anything else? All those in favor of ending this wonderful meeting, signify with aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Good night.